there have been a lot of people that have this discussion about, who do you not trust among the Penguins stars, among the Penguins big three and or core, however you describe it. The big three is obviously something of itself. Everybody's thrown in, is Erik Karlsson there or not? Either way, he is among the best four players on the Penguins. So I threw this out there yesterday, and I was intrigued because there's people that say, it's an aging core. I don't think they can do it anymore. Whose performance are you most concerned about heading into the 2024-25 season? We put it out there on X, formerly known as Twitter, and here are the results. Evgeny Malkin, 44%. At one point here, and it was not early. Like, it was early, but it expanded throughout the day. Evgeny Malkin was at like 77%. So the early voters were not big on Evgeny Malkin, but at the end of the day, Evgeny Malkin, 44%. Chris Letang, 31%. Erik Karlsson, 22%. And Sidney Crosby got 3% of the vote, which I was just interested to see if anybody is concerned about Sidney Crosby outside of the whole contract situation. Horwat, where do you stand on this? Whose performance are you most concerned about?
I don't know. It's tough. If I look at it, and the issue, I'd say I'm taking Crosby and Karlsson out of this conversation. Those two I'm not super concerned about. I think Karlsson's going to have a much better year because of learned the system a bit, got his feet wet, and now has a good buddy behind the bench for him. I'd be torn between Malkin and Letang and might lean into Letang because of what we saw last year. I get he was injured with a myriad of problems, but also if Erik Karlsson is going to have an improved season, Chris Letang might look like he's taken a step back just by comparison. And I think that's sort of what, he might be facing. Just the aging process, the injury process, and taking those slow steps back. I'm almost expecting Malkin to take a step back sometime, by the way. That's also part of, in my head, where Malkin's aging. Sure, he's going to do good. I'm also at the point of, I wouldn't be shocked if he put up a 30-point season. That would have sucked. That'd be terrible and not fun to see. But, and a bit of an exaggeration, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But if those declines start happening for Malkin, I'm going to go, yeah, he's 39. Like, he's already started talking about playing a year in the KHL. We are all well aware Malkin's the first one to leave the NHL out of these three.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Chris Letang, he's got a ton of years left. If he starts taking the steps back or looks to be declining in comparison to Erik Karlsson, yeah, that's where my concerns are going to draw the most. So out of it, I'm going to say Chris Letang.
Yeah, I had the similar thought process because as you kind of alluded to there, he's going to get the short end of the stick in every single situation on the defensive zone, right? He's going to have more PK time. He's going to have less offensive zone starts. He's going to have, the worst of the two partners always. You're not going to see Marcus Pettersson get a whole lot of ice time with Chris Letang. And if you do, something has gone either horribly wrong, or I guess it could have gone horribly right, where Matt Grzelcyk or Ryan Graves is that good to where you can promote them. But again, which one's more realistic from standing here right now? It's more realistic that something would have had to gone horribly wrong for us to see Pettersson alongside Chris Letang. So likely he's going to have the worst of the two partners throughout this entire season. Not to mention he's coming off of two tough seasons physically. You mentioned his myriad of injuries that he suffered last year despite playing 82 games. How about a year prior to that, he had a stroke, right?
Yep.
He's had two really tough physical seasons, not to mention an off-season surgery that he's rehabbed all year long. I understand it is a hand surgery, so it's not going to change his conditioning. It shouldn't change his legs, which is the first thing to go, as everybody likes to discuss with Evgeny Malkin. But that is going to affect some things when it comes to, potentially stick handling. We'll have to wait and see what he looks like when he gets back to Pittsburgh, what he looks like when he gets back on the ice. But I also understand where people are coming from with Evgeny Malkin, because physically, when you watched the games last season, he is the only one that took a major step back from what you used to expect from Evgeny Malkin. But as I have been harping on all offseason, he's still one of the best second-line centers in hockey. And I understand there's no more improving for Evgeny Malkin. He's not going to hit another level up, but that doesn't mean he has to hit a level down. Right? There are chances that even if you regress, you plateau at certain points. It's not a straight regression every single time, especially with a player of his caliber. I think Malkin is set up for a better season because I think he's set up for better line mates. I
Mhm.
think he is set up with another full off season where he's been healthy. I'm not going to say he's going to go out there and put up another point per game season. I'm not going to say he's going to go out there and play all 82 again, because for 3 straight seasons, that's a hard one to be able to sit here and put my money on. But I think of the two of them, I agree with you. It's Chris Letang, because there are some unknowns with Chris Letang, and he has played at such a high level, but I also think he is set up in a worse position than Evgeny Malkin is going into the 24-25 season. Again, in an ideal world, we're not talking about any of this at the end of the year. We're saying, oh, well, all four played pretty much to the level. We didn't have to be concerned about anything. But at the same time, again, there is some expectation when you're dealing with 39-year-olds and 38-year-olds and 37-year-olds. And then Erik Karlsson, who's 34 now, there is some expectation that there could be some concerning play at some point in time, especially for a team that's missed the postseason the past 2 years.